Okay, so I am in Southern Oregon. This is a road that goes through to one of the towns up here. I don't want to tell you until I get there. This is a redwood forest, or is embedded in one. There are bigger trees over there, but these trees deserve attention and focus too. I mean, people talk about like energy coming off of animals, or squirrels being kind of furtive and fun to watch, and trees should give you a sense of calm. I know it's kind of cliche or something. I'm not going to hug the trees, although they probably wouldn't mind. I'm not sure how much they pay attention. The pollution they don't like. Let me walk down here. Hopefully I won't get killed. Actually, I don't want to stay down. But you can see here, there's water down here. There's a little bit of a waterfall down here. This is carved out heavy, probably limestone or granite. Some of it's probably a mix of both. You can see it exposed here. They probably blasted that to make this road. This road system runs completely through the park. There's places to turn off. You can see here how gorgeous it is. You can see the little wisps coming off the trees. Sometimes that is mist, or it is humidity coming out of the air. Sometimes it's also the trees respirating, sort of, as the oxygen's coming off, the way your breath would show out in the temperature shift to fall. It's probably about 55 degrees or so out here, which is pretty comfortable for me compared to probably most people who would not. I mean, I'm saying most people would find it cold, and it's a little bit of a bite in the air because of the moisture. But so this is my day here. I'm going to go up and get a new office suite to do some work. Oregon has some interesting law changes that I want to look into, and the space was a lot cheaper than anything in San Jose, but I'm not going to probably be here for too long, so it just depends on what happens with the classes for January, if I'm even given any classes. So you can see it goes all the way up. So these are trees that are growing in rocky soil, and I mean probably a quarter of an inch in places, maybe 2 inches in some. That is made up of the trees that have died in the past, and some of these other plants, and there's lichen and other things that are holding the soil in. So if these trees were gone, these hills would, that's why they're probably not too worried about rocks coming off these hills. You see the lichen. These are really old trees, and even though they're smaller than the other ones that I passed earlier, as you can see how they stick out. These are hardy animal. I mean, I almost call them animals. These are living beings, and this is their home. And they're family groups. The genetics of one trees, when they drop their seeds, they communicate. I saw an article in Science. They communicate with chemical signals through their root systems. They are able to interpret sort of seismic waves and things like that. They can't make sound. I mean, I don't think so. So if a tree talks in the forest, is anyone going to hear it? You can feel them. To me, you can feel them communicating things in a in an emotional kind of psychochemical way. The sight of them, the presence of them, they almost look like, in groupings, you can see the energy coming off of them. I know that sounds odd, and it's not some kind of, I think people shouldn't stereotype certain types of thought about energy and how it moves around you. Just like if a city would have energy, this has energy. And those of you who've been in the forest, you know this. Maybe you haven't noticed it. If you go in and just sit in nature, it's different than if you're hiking or if you're doing something like skiing, because you can get to notice what's going on around you. I mean, you don't even have to hug them. You can. They're usually not grumpy. I mean, I think we as people, especially sitting in the place that we are with this pandemic, and potentially who knows what pitfalls or opportunities on the positive side, we need to start thinking of the state of who we are a little bit differently. and to look at things around us as mattering just as much as we do, if not, I don't know, if not, maybe not more than that, but that first and foremost, if we are supposed to be highly intelligent, how are we taking care of these creatures? How are we taking care of these living things? I mean, I use the analogy of people use in nature. Even that water is a sort of organic living thing, the veins of the earth that feed it. And it's all, ooh, you get all philosophical. Come out here and tell me how it feels. When you sit and listen, and kind of, I don't mean like through your ears, through your whole body, to what the trees are saying and what nature is saying. I'm sure they're probably, if they were conscious, aware of me having sight and eyes, and feel pain, and they'd probably be a little bit concerned about us. But to me, when I'm around them, it's like being around like a majestic herd of elephants that provide shade, oxygen, the minerals in the air. Many trees provide chemicals that are used in medicines that are very important. Aspirin is one. The willow tree, I think, either has that one or another. Ginkgo biloba trees are used as brain tonics. There are several that are actually poison, like hemlock. These trees don't necessarily, some of them do, provide seeds that are edible, and that's our role in spreading them. And some provide fruit as well, obviously, but these don't. The smaller trees tend to do that, so there's like a hierarchy of how they work. And we don't know how extensive their communication networks are between each other. And they're starting to think as well that large fungus type bodies also then are symbiotic with the trees. And you see the lichen coming off there and the moss. So, as much as I'm a sociologist and it is important to look at the world from a human perspective, sometimes we get too stuck in that frame. And to step back and see a larger positioning. But these things were here before, well before we were here. They are the reason why we are here. Meaning that if they hadn't created oxygen or helped in that process and provided shelter, I will remind people that we are primates and these were our first homes. They remember probably. It would be curious to see. Do trees have memories? The way we somehow think of ourselves that way. They certainly have a strength I don't think people appreciate. That's why clear-cutting forests is really disgusting to me. It's almost like genocide. I don't think it was too big of a deal if you take dead wood out. But one of the greatest decisions the human race has ever made, although it led to a few more mistakes like oil and gas and coal, which I don't know if they can be used responsibly with some of the data I've seen about just ambient air pollution and poisonous chemicals in the atmosphere. But we used to use them for fuel and shelter and building houses by chopping them down instead of living inside of them or underneath them. I don't know how much that played into the many of the Native Americans' decisions around what is now the continent of the United States. To many of them, not build permanent wooden structures. But I think that if you come down here and walk among these things, or just stand here and listen to them, I don't think you'd want to cut them down with an axe as well. And I'm not some kind of crazy prohibitionist when it comes to natural resources. But Humanity has made such a shift and change in its own atmosphere, and there are cities that are nice and beautiful and interesting and amazing monuments to our creativity. This is a monument to a higher level of creativity. Not a necessarily overtly better one, but one that does not have to ask permission or to, other than survive, fight against its environment or mold it because that it's not right for itself. And human beings seem a little ill-suited for their environment. I mean, if we didn't have shoes and things like that, and certain types of shelter, we'd probably die from exposure. We may be innovative, but these things are spiritually, exponentially, and unstoppably powerful. So I will catch up with when I get there, and I'll talk to you later.